She left you. She actually left, signed the papers, packed her bags, said she was done. But here's what's messing with your head right now. She's watching your Instagram stories. Every single day. She blocked you on her phone. But she's the first one to view your posts at 2 a.m. She told the judge she wants nothing to do with you, but she's been checking your Facebook 3 times a day for the last 4 months. And you're sitting there asking yourself, what does this mean? Does she still love me? Is she coming back, or is she just torturing me? Stop. Right there. Because what I'm about to tell you in the next 20 minutes is going to completely flip how you understand not just her, but yourself. This isn't just about divorce. This isn't just about social media stalking. This is about the most complex, contradictory, emotionally devastating psychological loop that human beings get trapped in after a relationship ends. And if you don't understand what's actually happening right now, you will make the wrong move, and you will lose any chance you have, whether that chance is getting her back or finally getting your peace back. So stay with me, because this is going to get deep. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine you're in court. Your wife, the woman you built a life with, maybe had kids with, maybe sacrificed everything for, she's sitting on the other side of the room. She won't even look at you. Her lawyer is listing reasons why this marriage is over. She looks cold, decided, done. And then that night, you post a photo. Maybe it's just you at the gym. Maybe it's a dinner you had with a friend. Something casual. And within 11 minutes, she's viewed it. How do you even process that? How does that make any sense? Here's the truth that most people, most therapists even, don't explain clearly enough. Leaving someone and being over someone are 2 completely different things. She filed for divorce. That was a decision. A legal action. A boundary she drew. But checking your social media? That's not a decision. That's an impulse. That's her nervous system reacting. That's her brain doing something she probably doesn't even fully understand herself. And this right here, this gap between what she chose and what she does, this is where all of your confusion lies. So let's break it down, layer by layer, because there are actually 7 deep psychological reasons why she filed for divorce but still can't stop watching your life play out on a screen. And each reason is going to tell you something different about where she is emotionally and what your next move should be. Let's start with the one that hits the hardest. You know what a trauma bond is? Most people think it means the relationship was abusive, and sometimes it does. But a trauma bond isn't always about abuse. It forms anytime 2 people go through intense emotional experiences together, highs and lows, fights and makeups, moments of pure love followed by moments of complete devastation. That kind of bond, it gets wired into the brain. Neuroscientists have actually studied this. When you're in an intense relationship with someone, your brain literally restructures itself around that person. They become part of your neural pathways, part of how your brain processes safety, comfort, danger, everything. Now she filed for divorce. She walked away. But her brain? Her brain didn't get the memo. Her brain still has you coded as significant, as emotionally relevant, as someone worth paying attention to. So when she opens Instagram and sees your face, her brain fires dopamine, cortisol, a rush of emotion. It's almost like a reflex at this point. She's not checking your social media because she's plotting to get you back necessarily. She's checking it because her nervous system is still addicted to information about you. And here's the wild part. She probably hates that she does it. She probably puts her phone down after watching your story and feels frustrated with herself. Because she made a decision. She wants to move on, but her body won't cooperate. Sound familiar? Because you're probably doing the same thing to her profile, aren't you? That's the trauma bond. And a divorce decree doesn't dissolve it overnight. Okay, this one is going to make you uncomfortable, but you need to hear it. When someone makes a huge life decision, especially one as permanent as divorce, their brain immediately goes into protection mode. It starts collecting evidence that the decision was right. This is called cognitive dissonance reduction. In plain English, she needs to believe she did the right thing. So she watches your social media looking for proof. If you're out partying, looking happy, moving on fast, part of her brain says, "See, he never really cared. I was right to leave." That hurts her emotionally, but it also validates her decision. But here's where it gets complicated. What if she checks your profile and you look better? What if you're at the gym? What if you're smiling? What if you look like you're healing? Now she's confused. Because part of her wanted you to fall apart. Not out of cruelty, but because that would mean you needed her. And if you needed her, maybe she made the wrong call. This cognitive dissonance, this internal war, is one of the most powerful things driving her to keep checking. She's not just being nosy, she's trying to find peace with what she did. And until she finds that peace, she's going to keep coming back to your page, looking for the answer that settles her heart. Real quick, if this is already making you see things differently, if this is hitting you in a way that you weren't expecting, go ahead and subscribe right now, because this channel goes deep into the psychology of relationships, divorce, and emotional healing in a way that most content out there just doesn't. Hit that button. I'll be here when you get back. All right, let's keep going, because it gets even more interesting. Here's something nobody tells you about divorce. Both people grieve, even the one who left. Actually, especially the one who left. Think about it. She didn't just lose you. She lost the life she imagined with you. She lost the version of herself that existed inside that relationship. She lost the future she thought she was going to have, even if that future had become painful. Grief does something strange to people. It makes them search. It makes them want to stay connected to what they lost, even while they're actively moving away from it. You've seen this with people who've lost loved ones to death, right? They keep wearing their person's sweater. They keep going to their person's favorite restaurant. They talk to their photo, not because they're delusional, but because the brain needs time to accept that something is permanently gone. Checking your social media is her version of wearing your sweater. It's a grief behavior. It's her way of staying near something that used to be the center of her world, while she slowly, painfully slowly, tries to rebuild what the center of her world looks like without you in it. It doesn't mean she wants to reconcile. It doesn't mean she's ready to come back. It means she's human. And humans grieve in messy, contradictory ways. This one is about power, and it's subtle. When a relationship ends, no matter who filed, both people experience a massive loss of control. Suddenly, the person who used to share your whole life with you becomes a stranger. And you know nothing about their day, their thoughts, their feelings, their plans. For some people, that loss of information feels like a threat. So they gather intel, they scroll, they check tags, they look at who liked your photos. They zoom into the background of your pictures to see where you were. This isn't stalking in the criminal sense. This is anxiety management. She spent years knowing everything about you, where you were, what you were doing, who you were with, and now? Complete blackout. That information void creates anxiety, and her brain has learned one very reliable way to reduce that anxiety. Check the profile. It's a control mechanism, not control over you, control over her own nervous system. And the cruel irony? The more she checks, the more dependent on that behavior she becomes. Every time she checks and gets a hit of information, her brain says, "Good, we know what's happening, we're safe." And the next time the anxiety rises, she checks again. It becomes a compulsion, completely separate from whether she loves you or hates you or is indifferent to you. Okay, this one is going to sting a little, but it's important. She's watching to see who's healing faster. This is human nature. When two people split up, there's an unspoken competition that neither person wants to admit they're running. Who looks happier? Who moved on first? Who's thriving and who's struggling? She checks your social media partly to measure herself against you. If you look like you're doing great, part of her is relieved. It confirms the divorce was right. Part of her is jealous. It triggers questions like, did I ever really matter to him? And part of her is motivated at like, if he can heal, maybe I can too. If you look like you're struggling, she feels complicated things. Guilt, sadness, maybe a small guilty sense of power, maybe even love. Like, he's hurting because he loved me. This was real. Either way, your social media has become her emotional barometer, her way of gauging not just your recovery, but her own. And understanding this gives you something very powerful, because it means what you post matters. How you show up online after a divorce sends a message. Not a fake, manipulative message, but a real psychological signal about who you are and who you're becoming. We'll get to what that means for your strategy in just a minute. Here's one of the deepest reasons of all. Some relationships end legally before they end emotionally. The paperwork gets signed, the lawyers get paid, the house gets split up. But there are things that were never said, wounds that were never addressed, conversations that needed to happen but didn't. And those unfinished emotional threads, they pull at people. She might be checking your profile because deep in her subconscious, she's still waiting for something. Maybe closure, maybe an apology, maybe just some kind of sign that this mattered to you the way it mattered to her. Maybe she's looking for the version of you that she fell in love with, hoping to catch a glimpse of that guy somewhere in your posts. Because if that guy is still in there, if he's showing up now, after everything, then maybe the divorce wasn't the ending she thought it was. This is dangerous territory. Because it means there might be a part of her that isn't completely closed off. But it also means she's operating from a place of old pain, old wounds, old expectations. And if you rush in trying to exploit that, you'll blow it. The unfinished business needs to be completed the right way, through real conversation, real accountability, real growth, not through games, not through social media manipulation. And then there's this. The reason she'll never say out loud, the reason she probably doesn't even fully admit to herself. Hope. Somewhere underneath all the anger, all the hurt, all the legal decisions and the logical reasons she told herself and everyone around her, there might be a small flickering part of her that wonders, what if? What if he changed? What if this was the wake-up call? What if the version of him I always believed was possible? What if he's becoming that person right now? She checks your social media looking for evidence. Evidence that you've grown, that you're different, that the things that broke you two apart aren't defining you anymore. She's not going to call you up and say that. She's not going to text you, "Hey, I see you've been going to the gym and reading self-help books, and I think maybe I was wrong." That's not how this works, but she's watching, silently. And if what she sees keeps contradicting the story she told herself about why she had to leave, that story starts to crack. I'm not telling you to manufacture a fake life online to win her back. That's manipulation, and it will backfire. I'm telling you, become the person you should have been, for yourself first. And let the authenticity of that transformation speak. Look, I know where you are right now. You're probably checking her profile too, aren't you? You're reading into every post she makes, every story she watches, every little digital signal, trying to decode what she's feeling, trying to figure out if there's still a door open somewhere. And it's exhausting. It's absolutely exhausting. Because you're not just going through a divorce. You're going through a psychological earthquake. The ground underneath your entire identity just shifted, and you're trying to find solid footing while simultaneously trying to understand someone who, by her own legal declaration, is moving on without you. That's one of the hardest things a human being can go through. And I want you to know, whatever you're feeling right now, confusion, hope, anger, grief, obsession, it's all normal. You are not weak. You are not crazy. You are not pathetic for still caring about someone who filed divorce papers. You're human. You're dealing with one of the most intense emotional experiences life throws at people. But here's what I want you to hear. Understanding why she's watching you is only half the equation. The more important question is, who are you becoming while she watches? Here's the real talk. The thing that wraps all 7 reasons together into one powerful truth. She filed for divorce, but she still checks your social media. And both of those things can be true at the same time. Because human beings are not logical. We are emotional. We make decisions with our minds, and then our hearts keep writing a different story underneath. The biggest mistake you can make right now is to use her online behavior as a roadmap for what she wants from you. Seeing her watch your story is not an invitation to blow up her phone. Seeing her check your profile is not a green light to show up at her door. But here's what it is. It's confirmation that the connection was real, that what you had left a mark on her, that she is still, on some level, emotionally invested in who you are and who you're becoming. And the most powerful thing you can do with that knowledge is to invest in yourself. Heal, grow, become the version of yourself that you're proud of, not for her, not to win her back, but because you deserve to come out of this a better man. If she comes back, she'll be coming back to someone worth coming back to. And if she doesn't, You'll be someone worth meeting someone new for. Either way, you win. The social media watching? Let her watch. Give her something worth seeing. If this video hit you, if any of those 7 reasons unlocked something in your mind that's been confusing you for weeks or months, then I want you to do something right now. First, drop a comment below. Tell me which reason hit the hardest. Was it the trauma bond? The grief? The hope she won't admit? I read every single comment and I want to hear where you're at. Second, subscribe, because this is just the beginning. We go deep here. Next, I'm going to talk about the specific behaviors that actually make an ex-wife reconsider. Not manipulation, not games, but real psychological understanding that changes the dynamic completely. You do not want to miss that one. And if you know someone going through a divorce right now, someone who's confused, who's hurting, who's trying to make sense of mixed signals, share this video with them. It might be exactly what they need to hear today. You're not alone in this, and you're going to be okay. I'll see you in the next one.